just when I thought I could finally get some sleep, just when I thought, you know what, 6 a.m. ain't my wake-up call anymore. Nintendo has to go and do it to me, but I knew this would happen. I told you guys last week that they were clearing it out, and now I can't complain. Nintendo Directs are back, baby. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. This week is freaking fantastic. Okay, peep the new mug. My brother got it for me. Look at this, new favorite mug. If you're not aware, Mr. Toad. All right, the Lions, my favorite team in the world. The Detroit Lions begin their Hard Knocks journey on HBO, a new series tomorrow. Marvel Snap, my current favorite game, has a new season kicking off tonight with She-Hulk, and Nintendo did this to us. Are you ready? Boom! I knew that it was going to get ooey gooey, sticky, icky. Splatoon 3 Direct. I told you last week that they were getting ready to finally unveil what this game is all about. And look, it's going to be a big deal because this is happening Wednesday, August 10th at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, and you bet your butt we will be live streaming this thing early. So click the link in the description down below so you're ready to join in for the fun and the festivities and the show. That is nearly 30 minutes. They said that Splatoon Direct on Wednesday, 30 minutes. They got a lot to say. They got a lot of ground to make up, and I think they're going to do it. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you're excited. Are Directs back? Can we expect a general soon? I'm not so sure. All right, we got some other news to get into, and we got to talk our predictions and plans and what's going to happen for this. So let's roll now. Okay, so first off, the Splatoon 2 Direct was jam-packed. It was ginormous, and we're going to go through that because I think it's a big hint of what we can expect. 30 minutes is monstrous. The Splatoon 2 Direct was 26, so this is bigger than that, and that was a pretty big deal. I'm glad that this game is finally going to get its shine, finally going to see why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? Now, are they going to be doing Directs again? Is this a sign, okay, we're back on track? You know, it could go either way, right? Like, Nintendo has, I think they've validated their summer plan. Like, individually, all the summer stuff was kind of lame, but together, you take it in one big ball, and it's been a pretty sweet summer. A lot of early wake-up calls for this guy, but other than that, like, look, we had a third-party Direct. We're getting a game-specific Direct. We've got a whole bunch of little Twitter announcements. There have been DLC. There have been trailers. There's Pokemon Presents. All of it in a row. Like, it has been a non-stop summer, and if that was their goal, to keep the news spread, individualized, compartmentalized, they did it. They chop sueyed their general Direct into a whole bunch of pieces. And now are they ready to return? Well, I don't know. Now, if we get an indie Direct next week, I'll say, okay, like, patterns are being reestablished. General in September makes perfect sense. But at this point, it does kind of seem like maybe they just want to go this individualized route. And, you know, like, there's stuff to be said for it. There's stuff to be said against it. Let me know how you feel. But right now, let's just bask in the glory of Splatoon 3 Direct Wednesday. All right, Xenoblade obviously has a 3 as well, and that game really justified itself, right? It sold super well. It's kind of a brilliant JRPG series. They haven't missed. They haven't missed with Splatoon, with the Xenoblade. They haven't missed with Splatoon either, but hopefully they prove that they're not going to miss again this time. But Xenoblade, the head of Monolith Soft, right, the founder, Tetsuya Takahashi, he wanted to talk about the future of the franchise, and I think this will be interesting to those of you who like this franchise. All right, he said, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a stopping point to me. This title depicts the conclusion of the Xenoblade story that began with Klaus's experiment. While it is a conclusion, there's always a but, that does not mean, it's a big but, that does not mean it is the end of the Xenoblade series. It is just a stopping point in my mind. I think that everyone who played this title and the additional stories and expansion pass can imagine what lies in the future for Xenoblade. Now, there is a big expansion pass that's got to be fulfilled, and next year there'll be story content, and obviously it's a massive game. And so, while this is the conclusion of this storyline, Xenoblade will go on. Will it be Xenoblade Chronicles 4? Will they use a different letter, a symbol, a different title? They could go completely without Chronicles. They've had Xenosaga and Xenogears, remember, and now Xenoblade and Chronicles and X and 1, 2, 3, so they could go any direction. But obviously this franchise ain't stopping. The current series has wrapped, but they obviously will continue the overall franchise, and that's good news. It'll be a couple years, but I think that is exciting if you are a JRPG player. Now let's talk about Splatoon Direct. All right, Splatoon 2 was a jam-packed show. Look, I'm looking at the different timestamps, and they went through so much. Just to give you an idea, like, they did everything. They talked about ranked battle. They talked about league battle. They talked about single player. They talked about weapons. They talked about the online. They talked about Salmon Run. They talked about merch. They talked about gear abilities. They talked about customization. They talked about Angopolis Square. They talked about the first Splatfest. They talked about Marina and Pearl. So, man, we are in for a real treat because there is so much to know, and this is going to be the time. There were so many sections in 26 minutes, so 30 minutes is, wow, like they're going to get through it. And we do know, thanks to the German Twitter, that there's new modes and new surprises for them to show. This is where they do it. They set the stage for the game, they justify why it's a 3, and I think they will talk about the future content. Now, one of those big future contents that I know people are eager for is a Testfire. Now, a Testfire, man, I feel like this is a real throw the dice, okay? Because the Testfire last time for Splatoon 2, remember this game came out in mid-July and the Testfire was in March, months and months before, okay? So that was just way ahead of schedule. Would they do a Testfire less than a month till release? Because when this Direct airs, it'll be August 10th. The game comes out on September 9th. I think there's a shot, okay? I think there's a shot because they do want to prove this game's power. The other hand, people do know what Splatoon multiplayer is like, and I can't imagine that the majority of the competitive online will be changed. Now, maybe they will shift things up, and hopefully they do, in terms of like, okay, we don't want to have to pick our maps based on the time of the day, just let it all, you know, we do want them to make some significant moves forward, like slide your way forward on that inky glory to a better multiplayer, but maybe they feel like it's been established, so we don't need to prove it again. It could go either way, but if there's going to be a Testfire, like, I think it's this weekend. Like, I think they need to go because this game is out in less than 4 weeks. Now, Amiibo, online content, that's going to be, I think, a real juicy part of this. We know Splatfest is the bread and butter of Splatoon's future, but are they adding anything else? And will the new modes sort of plant seeds of what we can expect? They didn't really talk about the Octo expansion here at all. That was much more down in the future, so it's not like they're going to reveal everything, the full roadmap for this game, but they did give a really good idea of how everything would go. They went over UI, okay? They went over drawings, right? They went over like all of that stuff that you could do in the game. So I think we're going to come out knowing, you know, we're going to know about the Splatlands. We're going to know exactly what's going on. We're going to see the single player. We're going to see the multiplayer. We'll see new maps. We'll see new weapons. But to me, the crux of it is, do they have new content? Because they can just follow this exact show. They can just follow this exact, you know, schedule, and they can go, okay, here's the weapons, here's turf war, here's league battle, here's rank battle, there has to be more than that, and we don't need just a regurgitation of what these modes are, what they do. Like, they're gonna have some of that, right? They're gonna have some just repetitious, hey, this is Splatoon, you spread your ink. It's not like a traditional shooter, although you can splat them, although you can kind of eviscerate them, but just for a second, they'll pop back. Don't you worry. Now, we also want to see if this game is going to take advantage of sort of a bigger, more open world. One thing that's been rumored is like that you have your own apartment, that they have a much bigger hub than they've had in the past. And we'd expect that because think about it. Splatoon 2 came at the beginning, right? The fishy face end, not the tail end, the fishy face end of the Wii, the Switch's life cycle, and the tail end of the Wii U's life cycle. That was effectively like it was like a glorified Wii U game. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Splatoon 2, but this is the Switch's Splatoon. This is just deep in the Switch's life cycle. Not even the tail end, just deep in it. This isn't the meat. This isn't the fleshy. Okay, enough with the fish puns, but you know what I'm saying. Like, this is their chance graphically. This is their chance idea-wise, content-wise, to really set the stage for, hey, this is a full-blown, big, the best Splatoon. In my mind, Splatoon 1 is the try. Splatoon 2 is the figuring it out and getting it kind of like setting it up. And then Splatoon 3 is the masterpiece. At least that's what I'm hoping. So I do want to see new characters, right? I want to see new exciting faces and characters. And I do think they're going to bring back a lot of people from the first two games. I want to see single player being more than just the disjointed stages. Can they do a Kirby-ified Splatoon, a Mario Odyssey-ified Splatoon? And by that, I don't mean the abilities or whatever, although freaking Flood is, you know, there is some sunshine and Splatoon similarities. Anyways, I want to see a connected world. And it seems like that's what the Splatlands are going to be. It seems like the story in the Mammalians is going to build to something bigger, I hope. they previously have done, right, just like block and block and block, and that's fine. The single players are still great, but if they want to take this to the next level, the Splatlands will be a interconnected big world that you can explore. So that's a big one. We need the multiplayer to evolve, to be normal, to not have time constraints, and we need to see like what gameplay nuances tweak this. Now, that doesn't have to necessarily be in the main way it works. Call of Duty is the same all the time. We're going to have new weapons, we're going to have new maps, boom, that's how a multiplayer shooter works. But we need some new modes, or some new twist, or some new, honestly, I'd love to see a really nice progression system. I think that would be really great to see some sort of more advanced progression system that does play into you wanting to play this and play this and play this. And Splatfest are great, that's a justification, a reason to keep coming back, but I do hope there are more modes. And honestly, I would love to see Salmon Run be just sort of the beginning. We know Salmon Run's back. It's Salmon Run 2.0. It didn't look all that different. And frankly, I'm not the biggest Salmon Run fan. So I'd love to see them extrapolate, expand with a brand new idea. And whether that is their take on a battle royale, their take on some more massively multiplayer mode, they have to deliver something that is kind of the wow factor. The thing that we can say, this is Splatoon 3. The single player, I think, won't be that. I think the single player can be great, but I think people will still think, okay, Splatoon's had single player. It's had Salmon Run. It's had multiplayer and turf war and ranked, and it's had all these cool weapons, new gear, new weapons, new clothing. That's nice, but that's just, it's window dressing. The thing that this game can really land itself on is either one, if it is like some open world. I don't know it'll be open world, but if it is, like, that's huge. And then the other is just like a new mode that the game can kind of just rally around and everyone can get excited for. And if they test fire that mode, that's how you do it. If there is a big new multiplayer mode, if that is sort of the feature that defines Splatoon 3, I think they will test fire it up. We'll have to wait and see, though. This is going to be super freaking cool. 30 minutes, they've got a lot to go through, and we have such an established franchise at this point, third game in. I think there's going to be a lot of new stuff. They clearly have a lot to talk about. They clearly want to tell us. They've been waiting. Will our waiting pay off? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but this is so great. A big Splatoon 3 Direct on Wednesday. I'm streaming it. Please join me. It's going to be so fun. My fingers are crossed for this game. I believe in it. I think they're going to deliver. I just hope they actually do. I hope they actually do. Let me know your predictions, your hopes. New Amiibo? Sure, new Amiibo. I think we get some new Amiibo, and I think there's more than just Splatfest. I think they have a new way to kind of content it up, and I hope they do. And maybe the first Splatfest gets announced. Last time it was cake versus ice cream. This time, maybe it's Splatoon 2 versus Splatoon 3. No. Maybe it's Inklings versus Octolings. That would probably be a good one to start with, right? That would make a lot of sense. Mammalians versus Ink Peoples. However they want to do that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, this week is just booming for me. I hope it's booming for you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, my wonderful people, love you a lot. Appreciate you more. Come to my stream, link in the description. SwitchForce, out.